What's up, everyone? This is Bacon here, and today we're going to be going over an Arena of Hero guide. This is not an overview like my previous video, but this is actually going to go into different techniques, tactics, and then some heroes that are generally good in Arena of Heroes. I'll kind of touch on comps a little bit, but because of a few different things, comps just aren't super helpful to know about because there's really not like set comps that are just absolutely broken. It's more so kind of figuring out what is good in certain scenarios. And so we're going to go ahead and jump into it. So this was similar in the original Arena, but there are a different kind of tactics you can see here. There's 4 total. There's 2 right here. So pay attention to these 2 for now. You can see here that you have 4 up front and then a 5th in the back. And this one is kind of like 2 in front, 1 in the middle, 2 in the back. And each of these maps or tactics have different kind of buffs or nerfs or just adjustments that they are unique to those maps. So it's important to pay attention to what those are. So for this one, characters have their movement speed reduced by 75% after entering the field. This one's not super game changing, honestly. It's not too crazy. I think most units right off the bat are within attacking range of another unit, and so they don't really have to move a lot. Now, if you have units that do move around a lot, or kind of like jumping all over the map, maybe like Athalia or I don't know, another unit that moves a lot, this might be a little more problematic, but overall, not too crazy. This one is a little more important. The hero placed in the position 3 or the middle one deals 75% more damage. And so this is one where generally, if you had a formation like this, you would probably put your damage in the back 2 and then your like healing maybe in the middle. But because the middle does all the damage or a significant amount of damage increase, you would want to put your highest damage unit in the middle. For me, I normally would put Awakened Solace. If you don't have Awakened Solace, I would get someone who, is whoever's your next damage unit. It's maybe Belinda or Shamira or someone like that. Now, another thing to take note of are these tactical heroes thing, which is an interesting adjustment. Honestly, I think it's not a bad change because it encourages you to have some of the more niche units built out. And so what tactical heroes are is with this tactic, some heroes will gain an additional 30% health, 20% attack rating, and 15% defense rating. So if you use one of these 5 units or all of them, you'll get a buff on these units. And so same with this, they're different units. If you use these units, whatever unit of these you use, you get that buff. Now, it's not a team-wide buff. It's specific to that unit. And so right now we're seeing, the top people are having this dude, forgot his name, Celestial in the back in spot 5. And then they have, I've seen a lot of Nathanthi. So Navanthi, Mishka, and then Awakened Solace and like Leica or another wilder unit. And obviously I've seen some with Shamir as well in the front. There's different variations of this you can do. Obviously, if you don't have her or him, don't use them. But some people have them built out a little bit, and it would be beneficial in there. Likewise, in here, it might make sense to put Thane at 3 or Euron at 3. Or if you have this guy built out a little bit in 3 too as well. So those are important things to note that are different, and a lot of people I think are overlooking that right now. But these buffs really do add up, and I would say like most people who haven't played the game a little while will have 2 or 3 of these units built out a little bit. So definitely kind of rewards you for using a variety of units. And then there are also 2 other maps. One is just like the classic map. I don't believe there are any changes to that. It's the 2 in front, 3 in back formation. And then there is one where it is 3 in front, 2 in back. It's the snow one. And the snow one is my least favorite by far. They reduce your energy restoration by like 90%. And so basically the whole time they're just auto attacking each other and using like their secondary abilities, and then no one ever uses their ultimate abilities. So that one's kind of dumb. I hate that one. It's just like when in this game is there scenarios when you would benefit from having like low energy restoration, or when would you know like, yeah, these specific units are really good when they don't have their ultimates or are better than other units who don't have the like. It's just not my favorite. So that is some important notes to make. So let's go ahead and switch my other account because this is on my secondary account, but I want to switch to my main account so you can have a little bit more idea of some comps that I'm finding have been pretty good so far. So looking at the popular hero tier list, this will give you an idea of what units are, doing well in Arena because people are using them a lot in there, and when something works well, people tend to use them more and more. So looking at this, Shaw tier, absolutely busted. Should always use an Arena if you have her. She has a lot of cheated deaths where, she'll die, but then she doesn't actually die. She kind of comes back, and it's just really annoying. Same with Taylene, where, she dies, but then she takes a second and she resurrects. Taylene's really good in Arena as well. Rowan, I think, is not a bad option. I think Rowan, he helps with restoring your energy quicker than your enemy. So if you restore your hero's energy faster, you generally will get your ultimates off quicker, which means you will then kind of start your chain of damage sooner, which normally means you'll win, unless the comp is just totally different or units are just worse in general. So Rowan's a good option to have, but I wouldn't say is not in the same tier as Shaltir and Taylene. Mishka's also really good. Leica's really good. Ainz and Albedo, I think Albedo can be good with Shaltir. I think Ainz, in some, if you have him like built out, can be really good, but he really needs like signature item maxed out, probably 3 stars, probably 5 stars to really be cooking. Navanthi and Solace are 2 that I think are super broken right now. If you put these 2 with Mishka, it's just so annoying. My personal favorite are Solace, Navanthi, Leica, Mishka, Shaltir, and just using those, I think that can be really strong. If you don't have Mishka, you could obviously swap in Taylene or Albedo or someone like that. Shamir is also good for those of you who have her built out. You can kind of pair her with a different combination of really any of these units up top, and I think she would do well. Damon, I've seen having some success. Sanja is also. Lucius is, not bad. I think if you haven't built out, his shields can be really annoying, but definitely not like game-changing by any mean. Rosaline is also a unit that is helping those units just crank out their ultimates over and over again, so she can be good with someone who really is ultimate dependent. Now, if we go ahead and look at Arena, so go ahead and challenge. These are going to be easy because, they're these guys. So in this case, I do have Tassie up front. Tassie's sleep, I think, is really good. And when she's hit by an enemy, she automatically kind of goes onto the team backline, which will show here. Obviously, I'm going to win because these are just bots. You can see she teleports when she takes damage. There's my Solace. Like I said, not really a competition there because of the lack of these people not being bots. But you can definitely throw Mishka in there as well, which I'm going to do. My Mishka's not at 3 stars. My Tassie's at 5, which is kind of why I'm leaning towards her right now. But I think once you have Mishka up a little bit higher with some signature items that are higher, she's probably better than Tassie in that regard. Right, we'll just continue moving up. One thing that I wish they did is ×4 and skipping. I don't know why that's not an option here. Like, ×4 is literally available in almost every component of this game, but it's not in Arena for some reason. Another thing that I want to touch note on, I'm out of my challenges for the day, so we're going to wait until tomorrow to kind of do that. Make sure you set up your defense settings, though, because if you don't, you'll just have nothing, or you'll have, like, stuff that's not good in here. So you want to make sure you're setting this up because depending on how it's set up, it could really change your ranking and your setting. As far as the beasts go that you want to use, I would say between the deer and the owl, I like the deer because it has the buffs for my wilder units, and there's 4 in there. This one has 2 buffs for wilders specifically. What's nice is that the deer, there's a lot of healing on your team, which gives you a lot of sustain. And then owl is going to make your units basically use their abilities quicker. They have increased ability haste, and so That's a nice pro of him, especially if you have some light bearer units in there as well. The last thing I wanted to touch on is here are just a list of the few changes in Arena. So the effects of beast talents will be generally weakened. The base attributes given by exclusive weapons will be generally reduced. Exclusive weapon skills remain unchanged. Gear remains unchanged. The base attributes given by tier will generally be reduced. The combat attributes given by tiers will remain unchanged, and divine effects remain unchanged. And then based on your martial rating, 360. And so a few things to note in here that's important is exclusive weapon skills remain unchanged. Gear remains unchanged. Divine effects remain unchanged. And so this is basically saying the importance of having your good gear on your units, making sure you have as many stars on your units so they get those divine effects, and then make sure you're having good gear and weapon skills, or having your signature items built out as well. And so it's important to really have your units that use an arena have those good armor, have those star levels like I mentioned a second ago, and just having them generally built out. If I'm doing an attack or a defense, if I don't have these units built out a good amount, it's probably not worth using them in this case. Maybe Audrey or whatever would be potentially good because they're already a really good unit. But overall, I think tactical heroes are important for maybe like 15-20% of your success if you don't have them all built out, which most people do not have them all built out unless you are a whale. If you do have like every unit in the game built out somehow, then this is obviously a little more important because that'll give you the edge to kind of get to the top. And so that is my kind of overview of Arena of Heroes, though. Like I mentioned earlier, it's important that even though there are units like Shaltir, Mishka, Taylene that are really good in Arena, if you don't have them built out, except for maybe Taylene, it's really not worth using them. So you do want to use your strongest units that you have for the most part, and not just going off of like certain units that are good in Arena, because if they're not built out, they might just be trash. If you have Shaltir that's mythic, might not be as good as a maxed out Mishka or a maxed out Shamira. So keep those things in mind. Everyone's comps are going to look a little different. If we look at the rankings here, we can see this guy has Audra in the back. Mythic. So built out some with a Ascended Taylene, Ascended Heart Purple Girl, Albedo, Shaltir. Like, obviously this team is like busted out of its mind. Mahira, that's who it is. And so it's important to really focus on the units that you have built out. Most people will not have a team like this because having a Mahira with 5 stars and a Taylene with 3 and an Audra that's Mythic Plus is not a common thing you see in AFK Arena Companion. So keep that in mind. But that's my guide, y'all. Hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully that kind of gives you a little more insight into Arena of Heroes. Hopefully there's a change on the duo system. I've already had to get like a new partner twice. So I don't know if that's like a new thing every time you play it, or if person unfriended me or unpartnered me. I don't know. We both ended up last time. We were both like within 100 of each other. So I didn't think it was really that big of a difference. Obviously I'm a little bit behind on this guy, but I just started. So by tonight, I'll probably be around the same rank as him. But yeah, no changes in the pipeline yet for Arena of Heroes. So this might be how it is for a while, but hopefully there's some changes because, like I mentioned in my other video, it's just not the best system. But thank you guys for watching. If this video is helpful, make sure you like and subscribe below. And if there's any heroes that you think have been really helpful with your Arena of Heroes, put in the comments below. I'm curious to see who you guys are using. And as always, hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.